And we are live again. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to another live stream. This is bad. Bad, 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 bad. Oh man, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? This is bad. Really bad. Michael Jackson bad. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? If you're new to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you're watching the stream, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you like the stream, not the scream, the stream. If you like the stream, hit the like button. Even if you don't like it, to show some support, hit the like button. We have a cryptocurrency market to talk about today. Today, we have a cryptocurrency market to talk about. This is bad. Michael Jackson bad. This is bad right here, guys. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? What is bad? What has Bitcoin done? What have we done that is bad? But again, welcome back to the channel. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. The price of Bitcoin is below $65,000. The price of Bitcoin is below $65,000. If you watch my streams, if you watch my market update, you are not surprised. Not at all. And this right here could be very significant. You know, talk about confirmations, talk about significancy. You know, this right here could be very significant. We have less than 2 hours until we get a daily close. We have about less than 2 hours until we get a daily close. And if we close below 65, is it 65? Yes, 65. If we close below $65,000, I believe you're looking at a $50,000 Bitcoin sometimes over the next couple weeks. If we close below $65,000 today, I believe you're looking at a Bitcoin in the $50,000 range. So, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. If this is your first time right here, you know, just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time right here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe. If you're watching the stream, do me a favor, hit the like. This is bad. Really bad. This right here is a game changer. This right here could send us in the $50,000 range. We have less than 2 hours until we get a daily close. Depending on how long I'm live streaming, you know, we could potentially close this candle right here during the live stream. I'm gonna try to push it towards, you know, the close of this day, of this daily candle. If we close below $65,000, to me, that could be a massive confirmation. And we could be looking at a Bitcoin that is trading in the $50,000 range sometimes over the next couple weeks. This is bad for the bulls. This is really bad. This is massively bad. This is Michael Jackson bad. I'm telling you right now, chat. This is not the first time. I've said this before. I told you this was a bearish consolidation. I have been telling you guys that this is a bearish consolidation. This is not a bullish consolidation. A few days ago, I talked about Gareth Soloway, who analyzed the market. You know, an amazing experience. Many, many years in the market. And he was long in Bitcoin. And he was predicting that Bitcoin was going back to around $76,000, $78,000. But what I say to you guys was, guys, this is not a bullish consolidation. I don't think Bitcoin is going to those targets. I don't think Bitcoin is going to $76,000, $78,000. I said that to you a couple of days ago. And what I say to you was, this is a bearish consolidation, and I think we are going to break down. And I think we are very close to breaking down. Right? I have been saying this to you guys for the last couple weeks. This is bad. This is not looking good. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, this is not a chart that you want to see. Trust me. This is a bearish pennant. And we talked about this yesterday. And right now, I'm looking at a breakdown. This is a breakdown right here, chat. What I'm saying to you is, if we close today below $65,000, that could be a massive confirmation. If we close today, and when I say today, guys, I'm talking about in less than 2 hours. In less than 2 hours, we are going to have a daily close. If we close below $65,000, I believe you are going to see a Bitcoin comfortably in the I'm going to say the mid. I'm just going to say in the $50,000 range over the next couple weeks. I'm saying couple weeks because it could take long, but we could be in the 50s in the next couple of days, guys. We could be in the 50s in the next couple of days. But I don't want to say in the next couple of days. I want to give myself some time. So I'm going to say in the next couple of weeks. But if you lose $65,000, boy, oh boy, 60,000 is not going to hold. I don't think 60,000 stands any chance in holding us. I don't think 60,000 is going to stand any chance. And what I mean by holding us, guys, I'm not talking about, we get a bounce and then we go back to retest, to break down, and then we go, like, this is not what I'm talking about. When I say holding us, I'm talking about, we come to 60, we comfortably stay above 60. I don't see that. I don't see BTC holding $60,000 if we lose 65,000. I'm saying if we lose 65,000 because we haven't lost it yet. Even though we are 64,000, we haven't lost $65,000 because 2 hours from now we could get a rally back above $66,000 and we could comfortably head back to 68,000, even back to around $70,000. So always respect the close of every single candle. Right now, we haven't closed anything. We got less than 2 hours. But anyways, chat, I want to welcome you guys back. Hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. Before we analyze Bitcoin, I do want to welcome you guys back. If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. And first and foremost, actually, I want to say a huge thank you to each one of you who have subscribed. I think we are, 298 subscribers. We're 298 strong. We're about to hit 300 subscribers. When you think about the value, in my content, when you think about how much, we live stream every single day. When you think about how unbiased, we are when it comes to this market. When you think about, the honesty, when you think about, how we analyze this market from an unbiased perspective. We deserve to be 300 subscribers strong, but we deserve much, much more. So continue to subscribe, continue to smash the like button, and let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's talk about Bitcoin. So, first and foremost, I want to start with the weekly because if you guys remember, yesterday I live streamed and I say to you guys that we are about to do something that we haven't done since early 2022. What was that? That was Bitcoin closing its weekly candle below the 200 weekly moving average. When I live streamed yesterday, we had a few hours before the weekly close, but I was very confident. All right, very, very confident. I was very confident. I was here. I was very confident that we were going to get it done. The Bitcoin was, going to close below its 200 weekly moving average. And chat, this is exactly what we did. This is yesterday weekly close. The 200 weekly was around $68,000. Bitcoin ended up closing its weekly candle at $67,600. This is the first time since April of 2022. The last time we closed below the 200 weekly moving average. You have to go all the way back to, no, not April actually, June of 2022. If there's anyone out there who still believe that we are not in a bear market, if there's anyone out there who is still with a belief that this is not a bear market, I don't know what to tell you, and I don't know how to help you. And that's perfectly fine. All right, we move on. Anyways, the last time we closed below the 200 weekly moving average, the price of Bitcoin crashed about 42% a couple months after. If we were to repeat the last time we closed below the 200 weekly moving average, a 42% crash would take the price of Bitcoin exactly to $39,000. If we were to repeat going down 42% after closing below the 200 weekly moving average, chat, you're looking at a $39,000 Bitcoin. So when I say to you guys that you need to be patient because this is not over, that's because you need to be patient. This is not over. Now, I'm not going to spend time, looking at the weekly because we did that yesterday. But maybe my last comment on the weekly time frame is that my prediction is that by the end of this week, we are going to close below $67,000. And this right here, guys, it is not looking good. This is day one. This is day one of this weekly close. And day one is already looking really, really bad. But we got time. We got plenty of time. So we'll see. All right, we'll see where BTC close by the end of this week. Now, let's talk about the daily. Because here is where, in the short term, oh my gosh, aren't the momentum starting to pick up? Now we have enough data, at least on the daily and on the lower time frame, because, the last couple days, BTC was doing this. Not enough data, couldn't really come up with, patterns, and just, analyzing Bitcoin in the short term was just, was very tough unless you were looking at, the 1 minute, the 5 minutes, the 15 minutes. But now when you look at the daily, guys, we have what looks like a bearish pennant. So a bearish pennant looks like this. This is what it looks like, chat. You have a drop down, and then you have a consolidation. All right. The consolidation is lower highs and higher lows. When you go to the daily, you look at Bitcoin's consolidation. What do we have, guys? We have exactly what that pattern looks like. You have a drop down, and then you have the consolidation, and the consolidation is consist of lower highs and higher lows. Are you guys with me? And guess what, guys? Once you get a breakdown, right? Once you get a breakdown, so once you lose the higher lows, once you stop putting in higher lows, like we just did right now, this becomes an entry, and you look for, downside targets. Now, in the short term right here, how do you come up with a target? You can go like this. All right, you take the measurement of the highs and the lows right here. You go from the breakdown. That gives you a target of, a $58,000 Bitcoin. But this is a short-term target. This is not, the bottom of the bear market. This is just a short-term target based on this small triangle. Or you can also look at it from the point of you have this entire move to the downside right here. So once you get a breakdown, you take this, you plug it right here, guys. It gives you around a $36,000 Bitcoin. So there's a couple ways. Now, this is more of your long-term target. This is not short-term. I wouldn't be expecting the price of Bitcoin to go to $36,000 in the next 2 days. But anyways, forget about targets for a moment and just focus on what we have right here. If in less than 2 hours, actually in exactly an hour from now, I'm going to try to stay live, streaming. That way, when we do get this daily close, I can talk about, what I think this all means. But this is exactly what I'm talking about right now. If we close today, in the next hour, if BTC closed below $65,000, and just in case you guys are wondering, why am I singling out 65,000? Well, chat, is because, $65,000 is this low right here. All right. Now, anything below $600 is massively bearish. Like any close below this, yellow line that is acting as a support, that gives you a lower low. What we want to see is a higher low. If we still want to be somewhat bullish in the short term, you want to see a higher low, guys. You want the price to be above $65,600. But anyways, if we close this day, if the next hour we get a daily close below $65,000, I believe this is a massive confirmation. The last time we had a massive confirmation, you have to go all the way back to this consolidation right here. Remember the bear flag that we talked about? This bear flag right here. The last time we had a massive confirmation was right here, guys. January 20th. The 20th of January. That was a massive confirmation because we lost the trend line. You can clearly see we had multiple higher lows. A higher low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low. For the first time, guys, we broke the trend. We had a lower low. This right here was the beginning, or was the confirmation that we were going lower. The significance of this, like all this crash right here, guys, this entire dump right here is the result of this lower low right here. So what I'm saying to you right now is this is exactly where we are right now. Today is very decisive. a decision is going to be made in less than an hour, because we are less than an hour until this daily candle is closed. If the bulls have any shame of keeping the price of Bitcoin or giving Bitcoin a little bit of some hope, yo, push this thing back above 65. Do something. Push it back above $65,000. But guess what, guys? I'm not surprised, because it is what it is, man. I want you guys to take a look at the state of the bulls. The strength is just not there. And this is why I continue to say to you, stay on the sideline. You need to be with whoever is in control of this market. And right now, the people that are in control of this market are the sellers, the bears. The people who are in control of BTC right now is not the buyers. Right? So you need to be on the side of the sellers. It's the only way to survive right now, guys. Look, if you want to hand your money to someone else, perfectly fine, guys. Now, if you want to put that money to, much better use or much better cause, just donate it to the Salvation Army. Now, if you are a long-term holder and you just dollar cost averaging and you buying spot, that's fine. You have a different strategy. If your outlook is 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that's fine. You have a different strategy. But if you are interested in, where is Bitcoin right now and where are we more likely to be, maybe a couple weeks from now, a couple months from now, if you are looking for, better entries, my message to you is, just be patient. All right, just be patient. You think $64,000 is cheap? What about $55,000? What about $50,000? It's going to get cheaper. It is going to get cheaper. All you got to do is be patient. All you got to do is practice patience. So anyways, this is bad right here. So when you look at the title of today's stream, chat, I'm not clickbaiting. This is not clickbaiting, man. This is the result of, hey, look at this, the look of this thing. Does this look like a Bitcoin that is bullish? Probably not. And not only just BTC, man. I was just on X and I saw some crazy stats. Where did I see this? Holy smoke, man. Where did I see this? Josh, give me a second. I was just on X and I saw something. I think the stock market, we lost around 700. Oh my gosh. Chat, $700 billion was wiped out of the stock market today. Take a look at crypto, guys. 615 millions, right? Liquidated from the cryptocurrency market. Of course, we know Bitcoin. Bitcoin was below $64,000. So forget about, being below 65. We were back to $63,900. This is crazy. This is crazy. You want to know what's even more crazy, guys? A couple weeks from now, it's going to be crazy year. Anyways, so, I wanted to share that with you guys, that this is not a good looking setup right here. My outlook on this, my interpretation of this chart right here is, bearish. Honestly, guys, bearish. And I think we are going so much lower. Like you just won't believe, guys. Like we are going so much lower. So anyways, yeah, let's talk about, let's talk about other stuff, right? We don't just want to talk about Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Chat, what did I tell you again? Told you guys this was not a bullish consolidation. Ethereum, I mean, look, this is bad, man. This right here, closing below this yellow line, I think we are about to do it. To me, you start looking, let me go to the weekly. Chat, forget about $1,700. I mean, this is not going to do anything. You have to start looking at is $1,300. You have to start looking at $1,300. Once we close today below, below this yellow line, you have to start looking at $1,300. The thing about Ethereum, man, and this is very scary, very, very scary, guys, is that Ethereum actually has been consolidating for the last 5 years. Chat, Ethereum, we don't have higher highs and higher lows on the monthly or even the week. Do we have higher highs, higher lows on the weekly? I think we do. Yeah, we do. But on the monthly, like, we don't have an uptrend like this one right here. This is the 2020, 2021 bull market. This past bull market, we don't have any of that. So what that means is Ethereum has actually been consolidating for the last 5 months because guess what, guys? This was a double top, basically. All we did was just retest the previous all-time highs. And the scary part is this. And listen, nobody wants to talk about this. I don't think there's many people out there that are actually talking about this. This is not a prediction. I'm just going to put it out there for you guys. You have to make your own decision. Chat, if you take this trend line right here and you connect it to this low, if you go from this low right here, the bottom of the bear market, you connect it to this low right here, guys. This gives us a beautiful trend line that looks like this. So basically, Ethereum is coming down to retesting that trend line around $1,500. I want you guys to hear me out right here. Once you lose $1,500, the trend is broken. Where are the targets? Remember, a 5-year consolidation, no higher highs, no higher lows, and then you break the 5-year trend line support. Where could that potentially take the price of Ethereum? Chat, I don't want to say the numbers, but I'm just going to give you some targets based on what is in front of me. Once you lose $1,500, your target becomes this $800 to $1,000 range. And I think, man, like once you lose, look, I'm going to try not to say anything because, I mean, the numbers are just laughable and, I don't want to be responsible for that. That is your first target, once you lose this trend line right here. And then, we're looking at the left. Where do we have support on this monthly right here? Like, we really don't have anything around here. Okay, $670. That could be a place where maybe we have some support. But in order to see this as a real support, you got to go back to like the weekly. Even the weekly, guys, there's nothing here. Maybe you got to go back to like the daily. All right? But we're not talking about the daily right here. But when you got 600, so there you go. When you go to the daily, you got 600 to, $800. All right? That could be, this could be a target. But I want to go back to the monthly because my focus is on monthly charts, not the daily. But this is an area of interest. And then, like, once you lose this, and I'm not saying this is what Ethereum is going to do, guys. I'm just marking targets. You're looking at a $350 Ethereum. I am not predicting that Ethereum is going to $350. I'm just giving you targets based on if we were to lose this trend line right here. And what I'm saying to you is, hey guys, this is not looking good right now. We need, I don't want to say we need a miracle, but these are targets that you should be looking at. All right. If we come down here to this yellow line, you want to be a little bit more patient, see how we react, see if we actually get support around there. If we lose that yellow, you start looking at this $800 range. See when we do get there if Ethereum is building some sort of bullish structures, if we are building some base. If you lose this range, you start looking at that's to me that should be the approach. And that is my approach to this market right now. What I'm trying to not do in this bear market, this is a mistake I made last bear market, guys. I was so fixated on targets. I was looking at Bitcoin and I was looking at $10,000 to $1,400,000. But of course, guys, I was accumulating Bitcoin below $20,000. And then when it came to other altcoins, Solana, I was not a fan of Solana because of, the whole FTX collapse and, SBF and, all that was happening back then. And a bunch of these other altcoins, I was looking at AVAX and I thought AVAX was done. I thought AVAX was going down to like $5, $2, somewhere around there. And of course, the bottom came in around $12. So in this bear market, what I'm actually, spending a lot of time focusing on is, have we got to a place where the market has been extremely oversold? Like we are at a place where it's only right and it only makes sense to start building a position, not based on opinion, but based on the charts. Because the charts are going to scream, hey, the bottom is in. Start building a position. And the charts is not going, they don't do that when you hit the exact bottom. No, it's weeks after, months after you start to see something because the chart, start coming live. You can see the weeklies taking shape. In terms of Ethereum, guys, this was the low in the last bear market. By the time we were September of 2023, around $1,700, the chart told you the low was in. Like right here should have been the accumulation. All right. Not back here, but right here, guys. From around March of 2023, April 23, until November of 2023, you should have accumulated Ethereum between $1,500 and $2,000. And remember, the low was $800, but this was your entry based on, the fact that we were breaking out. We talked about Solana. All right. When you look at Solana in the last bear market, when was the time to build a position? Right here. This was the time to build a position between $20, or you can say $30, and $16 or $12. The low was in at $8. But at 8, we could have dumped to 3. We could have dumped to 5. But months later, all right, between March of 2023 and September of 23, between $30 and around $16 or $12, you could have built a position and your average could have been around maybe 21, maybe 23. And you would have done really well coming into the last bull market. So to me, that's my focus. All right, I'm going to miss the bottom. I'm not here to predict the bottom. I don't know where the bottom is going to be. But what I do know is once the bottom is finally in and weeks later or months later, all right, it is going to be obvious. And that is going to be the time to start building a position. If you are in the camp of dollar cost averaging, I'm not mad at that. If you think Solana, from $300 to 78 right now, that gives us a 74% crash. If you think this makes sense to start building a position, I'm not mad at that. I just don't like that strategy. And the reason I don't like that strategy is because I don't know where the lows, like I don't know when we are going to put in the lows. I don't know what price target that is. Is it 50? Is it 30? Is it 20? Is it 10? I don't know. And because I don't know, what I don't want to do is I don't want to risk, being down 50, 60, potentially 80%. I'd rather stay on the sideline and wait for the bottom to actually be in and start building a position in something that could potentially start trending up. Remember, it's not guaranteed, just because I waited, but I do want to increase my probabilities because this is a game of probabilities. When you make that investment, you're not guaranteeing anything, but what you always aim to do is, try to minimize the risk. And to me, the risk is not worth it the more I look at this market, despite the fact that a bunch of these tokens, including Bitcoin, are already down 50% or more. I am going to be patient because in the cryptocurrency market, there's multiple 50% crashes. You think you're down 50% from the highs? Just wait 2 weeks from now. Solana, $40. What is that? Almost another 50% crash. I'm telling you, this is bad, guys. Michael Jackson bad. Anyways, what was I talking about? So let's go back to a bunch of this stuff right here. And also, guys, look, you think this is bad right here? This weekend. Oh my God, this weekend. You know what's coming up this weekend, guys? We are going to close the month of February. I know the cryptocurrency market is extremely volatile. And we could reverse. Like we could do a 360 between now and Saturday, right? Saturday we get a monthly close. But, man, you look at these monthly candles. You look at the structure. Solana, do you want to have any chance? Do you want to give the bulls any chance? You need to get back above $95. Solana, 78 right now. Can we get back to 95? Probably. Do I think Solana has got what it takes to be back to 95 by the end of this weekend? I don't think so. I don't think so at all, guys. You go to Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin. And speaking of Bitcoin, I saw some crazy stats that I actually want to share with you guys. Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin, do you want to give the bulls any chance? Get back above $74,000. Do I think Bitcoin gets above 74,000 by the end of Saturday? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I saw some crazy thing. Well, maybe not crazy. This guy right here, Mr. Anderson. I saw something right here. So Bitcoin has never, all right, in its entire history, closed a monthly candle back below a prior cycle's monthly closing high after confirming a breakout above it. Basically, we have not closed below the prior cycle highs, if I'm getting that correct. We could potentially make history this weekend. This is the cycle high of the last bull market. Right here, around $69,000. We have a Bitcoin that's trading at $64,000. So, will Bitcoin get back above 69,000? I'm going to say no. I don't think Bitcoin goes above $69,000 by the end of this weekend. So, these are your monthly closes right here, guys. This is 2018, 2022 bear market. This is 2014 bear market. This is 2018 bear market. This is 2013 bull market, 2018 bear market. And this is 2018 bear market. This is 2022 bear market. So it looks like, history in the making this weekend. First time ever. For the very first time, we are about to close below the prior monthly high. The prior bull market, of course. If we stay below $69,000. Why are people saying XRP is about to break off Bitcoin and go up? I tell you who's saying that exactly. Anyone who's in an XRP position and they are looking for exit liquidity because they know exactly what's coming. Mark my words, XRP is more likely, and I'm willing to bet on this. XRP is more likely to be right here by the end of 2026 than it is to be up here by the end of 2026. Anyone that is screaming and pushing this narrative that XRP is about to break off Bitcoin and go where? Go where? Where? The only way for XRP is right here. And when I say right here, guys, just in case you guys are wondering, I'm talking about this 40-70 cents range. That is what I mean when I say here. 40-70 cents. And let's talk about what that means. That is a 50% crash minimum. That is maximum, a 70% price crash. Yo, Chad, look, I'm not saying anything that is not in front of you. Like, this is not something that I'm making up. All right, this is XRP right here. Look at the daily. Tell me why you should be bullish on XRP when the chart looks like this. This is not the first time I'm saying this, because if you guys remember, when XRP had this weekly rally, from 170 something to 242, and then we got rejected at a 21 weekly moving average. You remember, I told you, guys, the rally is over, and this is the time for a major crash. And guess what, guys? Look, you go from right here all the way down. We're down about 45% today. There's another 45% crash coming. Just be patient. It's going to take some time because nothing goes down in a straight line. But you should not listen to any of those clowns, man. And I'm gonna call them clowns because they know exactly what they're doing. Those are bag holders. All right, those are bag holders. Average price probably somewhere around here, somewhere in the mid twos, or maybe even all the way in the $3 range. That is where the average price is. Anyone that is bullish on XRP and is calling for, new all-time highs, they got an average price higher. And there's two things that they're looking for. Let me shield XRP, especially if I have a bigger audience. If I have hundreds of thousands of followers. Well, let's get liquidity back in this token. Please, let me break even. Or please, get me back to a place where, maybe I'm down 10% so I can cut my losses and just move on. Or, somebody out there just, some people are just, they're just engaged. It was engagement farming. Just looking for clicks, looking to become part of, the XRP army. Because when you go to X and let's do XRP and let's see what comes up. When you go to X and you type XRP, well, of course, guys, this was July, whatever. Look, I was at some point I was bullish on XRP. Just in case you guys are wondering, I'm not always bearish. But guess what, guys? December 23, 2025. Look, this is not the first time I'm talking about this. I was literally predicting this day cap bounce, and I was calling for this 30-70 cents range. This is December of 2025. So you can clearly see, man, this is not the first time. This is January of 2020. This is 2026. Yeah. $1.75. Guys, clearly, this is not the first time I'm doing this. I need something else to come up instead of my... This is February 14. Okay, I'm not going to judge that person. February 14. I mean, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just looking at charts. God damn it. There's nothing, though. February 15. Yeah, I don't know what this person was thinking. All right. Forget about that one. Anyways. He's kind of got the same outlook as me. And there's this guy right here. He is... Okay, no, these are short-term targets. Short-term targets, I don't care. If somebody's predicting like a 10% move. Okay, Raul. Oh my God, bro! You can't be serious though. You got to admit that XRP is is a good looking chart. Last time it broke the wedge, it rose. I can't. Yeah. I mean, yeah. 2024, the market was bullish, so I'm not gonna, really. September 2025. Okay, I'm just kind of. All right, I guess there's nothing out there. Anyways, doesn't matter though. I dumped 200,000 XRP at. Oh, you got lucky, man. I'm glad you did. Dumped it 186, but I bought it under. Yeah, you gotta look. If I was you, I'll get out right here. If you jumped in under $1, it's at 135 right now. I will look. No financial advice, of course. You done a great job getting back in below $1, so you make your decision because you've done a great job. But anyways, look, I'm looking at a retest all the way down in this range right here. And guys, look, does he have to come down in this range right here? It doesn't have to, but I'm just doing pure technical analysis, and the only target is this is the range right here, guys. Give us some time and let's see where XRP is, months from now. Anyways, enough for XRP. What else are you people interested in? SUI, guys. SUI, I'm looking at, coming all the way down here, retesting 40 cents range. It could potentially go lower. It wouldn't surprise me if we do end up going lower, but, let's just be patient. Let's see what we get from SUI. One thing that I'm looking forward to, before I start doing anything in this market is weekly bullish divergency. So once I see the monthly, weekly MACD start trending up, once I see this MACD start trending up, and I'm not going to buy, at the beginning of its rising, I'm going to wait until we get closer to, the zero line. And I'm going to wait until there's a pullback in the price. Because price is probably going to do this. We're going to dump and then we're going to go up. While this is happening, we might get bullish divergency. No, not that one. I mean, while price is going down, you might get something like this and we get bullish divergency. So while the MACD is closer to the zero line, the price should be lower, or at least we should be sideways, not pumping. That's when I'm going to start looking for entries, because that taking place on the weekly is going to tell me that we are more likely a bottoming out, and you're looking at a fantastic accumulation phase. So that's what I'm kind of basically waiting for. I think where the RSI is and where the MACD is, I think very soon we're gonna start to get this bullish divergence. Like I don't know when this is going to start. It could be March, April. We start, diverging, and that could take some time though. I don't think this is not. We do it for 2 weeks and the market is bullish again. That could take. I'll give you guys an example with Solana. If you go back and you look at Solana, guys, we had a bullish divergence for like, months. Solana last bear market. This was the bullish divergence, chat. So right here, around July of 2022, okay, the price of Solana is around $40, and then we started diverging. So you see, we started rising. The MACD RSI started rising, but we didn't get the bullish confirmation until October of 2023. So think about this, right? The beginning of the bullish divergence was July of 2022. The price is at $40. The low comes in at $8. We hit exactly $8 around December of 2022. We don't turn bullish until October of 2023. That is how long the divergence it could potentially take. And this is why I'm saying to you guys, this is a game of patience. Yo, Chad, this is 440 days. 440 days, guys. So what I am looking forward to is basically exactly the same pattern. I'm looking for a bullish divergence. 440 days, that's over a year. That's 440 days. Yeah, that's like, what, 14 months? Maybe less, maybe more. It's a long, long time of waiting. So this is why, you don't need to be in a rush. XRP Glazers crack me up. It's crazy. It's crazy out there. All right, so sounds like you out. Just looking for a good entry buyback. I like 70. Yeah, 70 cents looks good. That's the top of the range. Once it gets there, if you can DCA down in the 40s, I think it's not a bad strategy. Look, one thing that we have to be okay with, and we got to make peace with this, guys. None of us, unless you get very, very lucky, none of us is going to capture the absolute bottom of any of these assets. If you can try to get in, all right, maybe, look, a really, really good entry is if you can get in 15, 20% off the lows. That's a really, really good entry. For a bunch of these altcoins, I'm going to say this. You most likely are going to get in, once the trend is well established. 80 to 150% off the lows. And I know some of you guys may be thinking, whoa, that is way, way too high. Chat, it's not, man. Solana bottom came in at $8. The uptrend is not established until price was around like 20 something, 25, even 30, guys. Look, I became bullish on Solana at $21. When you go from the absolute lows of the bear market, $8 low, 21 is right here. Guys, that's 167% off the lows. Yo, if you go back, you probably thinking that is way too late. But Chad, no, because $20, yo, you 20x your investment, right? No, you 10x, not 20x. 20x is too much. At $20 until $300, yo, you 12x your investment. Will it be great to get in at 8? Of course, guys. Like who wouldn't love to get in at $8? So you just have to make peace with the fact that you're going to miss the lows. But what I think is important to me, this is just my opinion. I think what's important is recognizing when the longer uptrend is beginning. The uptrend is basically your bull market, and try to get in as early as you can. In terms of Solana, if you jumped in below $30 in the last bull market, I think you did a great job. In terms of Bitcoin, if you got in below $25,000, I think you were fantastic. That's when you should try to get into the market. In my opinion, in a bear market, dollar cost averaging, I think is one of the worst strategies. And the reason I think it's one of the worst strategy, guys, is not because I don't believe in the strategy. It is simply because, especially when we are talking about the cryptocurrency market, your entry could be super, super bad, man. Right? Like your entry could be super, super bad. Because in a bear market, like most of these tokens are going to drop way, way lower than any of us can predict. In the last bear market, when Solana was at $80, if anyone would have told you that by December of 2022, Solana is going to trade at $8, yo, you would have called them retarded. You would have called them retarded. Like, this is how crazy this market is. But guess what? We got to $8. All right. Chat. 2018 bear market. In a bull market of 2017, the price of Ethereum hit $1,400. If in 2018, early 2018, guys, if someone would have said to you that Ethereum is going down to $80, there's no way you would have believed that person. All right. And most likely, around $400, you would have started a position. But guess what? If you would have waited, I bought Ethereum in the not this last bear market, 2 bear markets ago. I bought Ethereum at 170, and I thought I was super, super late. All right, this was my entry, guys, in Ethereum. It was right here. No, not there. My entry was, I actually bought it around 2019. I bought Ethereum right here, guys. Here. There we go, right here. This is when I bought Ethereum 2 bear markets ago. I bought Ethereum around here, guys. And I thought I was late. Because guess what? Ethereum low was around $80. All right, my entry was 100% off the lows. But guess what? I was early. When you think about what Ethereum ended up, excuse me, man. Oh my gosh. When you think about what Ethereum ended up, doing in the last bull, not the 2 bull markets ago, you go from 170 to, this is $4,800. This is a 28x. Chat, crazy. All right. If you would have dollar cost average, if you were around this market and you saw Ethereum go from right here, guys, let's be clear, chat. You saw Ethereum go from $1,400 all the way down to $500. You would have done anything to buy as much Ethereum as you can in this $500 range, because you would have thought this was the bottom. You go from $500 down to $360. All right. And then look at this monthly or weekly relief rally. Look at this right here, guys. It's a 120, 130% move off the lows. But guess what? A couple months later, the price of Ethereum goes from $830 all the way down to $80. This is a 90% crash. What I'm saying to you guys is, don't dollar cost average. Just wait. All right? Wait until, this entire bear market is over. I'm telling you guys. Look, if price of Ethereum goes up like this, let me show you something. If we go up like this, let's say we go from right here, $1,800, all the way up to around, let's just say $4,000. Guys, this is not the bottom, man. Because the structure does not look like this. You need to wait for this pullback. See what this pullback is going to do. Now, if this pullback puts in a higher low, all right, and then we go up again, okay, maybe, you start building a position somewhere around, somewhere around here. But most likely, if you get a move like this, you are going to retrace the entire move all the way down to new lows until the real bottom is in, and then you build a structure. So you have to be patient. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna go until 7 p.m. Eastern time. We got about 20 minutes until the daily is closed. Chat. I mean, this looks bad. We're definitely losing. You know, when you go to the daily, we are definitely closing below at this $65,000 support. I think we're definitely closing below, and this is really, really bad. So, yeah. So look, my message is, just be patient. And look, I'll give you guys another example. Chat. I say to you, well, not to you guys, but you know exactly what I mean. When MicroStrategy was right here. Whoops. MicroStrategy, man, when he was in the $300 range. This is August 15, guys. I put this out there. Unpopular opinion, but I think MSTR has definitely topped. In the last bear market, we topped early, and I think that's exactly what we just did. And you can see I was predicting going back to $100. This was August. Chad, looking back, I should have shorted. I should have bought puts. But hindsight 2020, guys, you say looking back, I should have done. Doesn't matter, right? But what I'm saying to you is, this was crazy. Around 366, and I was looking at $100. That was crazy. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, I was looking at $100 back last year, and even this year I was looking at $100. But guess what, guys? I grabbed the position. My average is 172 because guess what? I was waiting for a weekly day cap bounce, and I was looking at the 230, 250, 260. I was trying to take profits somewhere around here. I'm bag holding this thing right now. And I'm waiting until we get back to, 172 so I can break even and just get out of my position, because I actually think it's going lower. I think we're going back in the probably $80 range, even somewhere around $70. But if this was a dollar cost average approach, like, that was a bad strategy, man. So I'd rather just stay on the sideline until the bear market lows are actually in. But anyways, doesn't matter. Hopefully, this is helpful and you guys get something out of this. But child, just remember, look, if this was your first time right here, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Make sure you're smashing the like button. The YouTube algorithm, the drill by now. And I do appreciate you guys. Look, we are almost at 300 subscribers. Hopefully we just hit 300, because looks like we got a few more of you guys watching today. So, if you just joined us for the first time, hit the subscribe, guys. If you are just joining, of course, and you were not here early, I said, well, not that I said, my analysis on BTC is that, this is a bearish pattern. This right here is a bearish pattern, and we are currently breaking down. And I believe, all right, my belief is based on what I'm seeing right here. If we close in the next 20 minutes, we are going to get a daily close. And I think more likely this is what this is going to look like. So if we close like this, I believe this is a massive bearish confirmation. All right. And this is going to send us in the $50,000 range sometimes in the next couple of weeks, but this could happen way, way quicker. I think this is very, very important. This is as important as when we did this, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how many of you guys were watching my content when we had this bear flag right here, and then we finally lost the flag with this daily candle right here. This one right here, guys. This was massively bearish. And the result of this is exactly this crash right here. All right. This is a 30% drop. And you guys remember, I was predicting this. So I think this right here is going to result in something that looks like this. You know, you're looking, I'm going to say minimum, you're looking at a 10%, definitely minimum, you're looking at a 10% drop. And I'm going to say max, we get a 20% drop. 20% puts us around $50,000. I think this is coming. I think this is coming. So 20 minutes from now, people, daily close. It's not a good one. And it's not just BTC. You know, you look at Ethereum, it's exactly what we have. Look, Ethereum, same pattern right here. And what pattern are we looking at, guys? I'll show you the pattern. So that way you don't think I'm just making up some stuff. You're looking at this bearish pennant. It's right here, guys. It looks exactly like this. Looks exactly like this. All right. It consists of higher lows. Well, first, it consists of a big drop like this. And then you get higher lows. And then you get higher lows and lower highs. And then you get a breakdown. So when you look at Ethereum, you have the you have the drop, and then you have lower highs, and then you have higher lows. If you go to the 4-hour, it's more cleaner with Ethereum. There we go, right there. BTC, exactly the same pattern, people. So it's not looking good, people. It is not looking good. This is aligning with the RSI 14 EMA. This is aligning with the 14 MA, not EMA, 14 MA bearish cross. Those tend to lead to sell-offs. There we go. Yeah. It's crazy, right? What a coincidence. When I was looking at Bitcoin, you know, one of my outlook these last few days was that you basically was looking at an RSI that had been extremely oversold. All right here around 15. And I was thinking, hey guys, look, I think we're just going to reset this RSI, probably go back into like the 50s. So I thought we were going to get something like this, and then we dump after. But this is happening way, way sooner than I actually predicted. So, you know, another reason to continue to be bearish on this market. I mean, there's really not a reason to be bullish. And also goes back to what I continue to say to you, chat. These MACDs in this, like, I mean, just look how stretched this thing is to the downside, right? Whenever you get these like crossover confirmations, like this is not a buy confirmation right here, man. Like this is bearish right here. And if you want to be bullish on a MACD down here in a bearish territory, you should look for bullish confirmations. So actually, look, I don't want to talk about it right now, but I think this is perfect because I believe this is the last drop and then we get a weekly relief rally. So the fact that, what I'm about to say, the fact that the MACD on the daily has started rising, like this is now going up, but the price is now starting to dump. This is not a coincidence. So I believe by the time this MACD gets to around very close to the zero line, even the RSI, guys, we're going to keep our eyes on the RSI. Whatever the price of Bitcoin is, you know, in this case, I think more likely in the $50,000 range. I think that could mark, you know, the bottom of this entire, let's go to the weekly. That could be the end of this entire weekly drop, you know, from right here, $97,000. Let's just send it all the way down to around 52,000. I think right here, guys, this could mark, you know, the end of this weekly crash. And then, you know, what comes after is a weekly relief rally. So we might get something like this on the weekly. All right. So if we go back to, let me go back to the last bear market. Maybe I give you guys a bit of an example. So I believe this is exactly what's coming. After, so I think we are right here, and I think we're about to see this, and I think what comes after is this move right here. So if you look at the MACD when this was happening, or at least, when this was happening right here, if you look at the MACD, I mean, guys, this is, I mean, honestly, you actually can't make this up, right? When this was happening right here, all right, the end of it, you see the end of this consolidation, guys, was this cross down right here. All right. And then when you look at the MACD though, what did we get, guys? We got bullish divergence, or at least you call this a double bottom, all right? Then we go up again. This is our weekly relief rally right here, guys. There we go. So if you go to the weekly, hopefully I still have access to that. If you go to the weekly, this is the weekly relief rally. All right. So when you think about here, let's say we go down to 50 or 52, somewhere around here, 49, whatever. A weekly rally, I think that's exactly what this MACD could potentially look like. So look at the daily MACD, guys. Look, if we get a cross down, all right, that marks the top of this rally. And then, the next time we get a crossover or a double bottom, just like the last bear market, I'm not going to say it's going to be exactly identical, but imagine a cross down right here. Hope you guys are with me. And then we come here, guys, maybe a higher low or maybe a double bottom. The next time we cross over, I think that marks the end of this drop down right here. And this could potentially be fast. Like this could be, we going from $65,000 down to 50 grand, and then boom, we get a relief rally. So like this could be very fast all the way here. It's a 20% drop. And then this is a weekly relief rally. This could go on for weeks, even 2 months maybe. And then we get a final drop. Now, I don't want to get too much into that. But anyways, maybe this is a conversation for a different day. Right now, let's just kind of keep it with people. We are looking at the beginning of a $50,000 Bitcoin. I love, look, the bear markets are actually great. The bear markets are actually great because if you want to make profits, if you want to make something meaningful in the next bull market, this is where the opportunities are. Chat, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Let me just look at TRX and BNB. Those are complete different ball games. They are in their leagues of their own, but of course we know why. You got CZ and you got Justin. I mean, these guys. I mean, Chad, look at this right here. All right. While everything else is crashing, I mean, Tron is just. It's more like a stable coin in a bear market, and then it's more like a crypto in a bull market. Interesting. Anyways. If I'm looking at Tron, the Tron looks much, much better than Bitcoin. So I think I'll be interested in Tron around 21 cents. I think somewhere around here. I think this is a place where I'll be interested in the token. I'm gonna say this. I don't think Tron goes below 21 cents. Because once you lose 21, you're looking at, or maybe let's just say 20. You're looking at a token that could go back to 11. I don't think you go down to 11. I think these guys probably, they just won't let it happen. And then you got BNB as well. And I was looking at BNB, and BNB is another one. It's basically a stable coin in a bear market. BNB right here. Look, I think the lows. I think worst case is a $400 BNB. I mean, this is a massive crash, of course. But I think worst case scenario, you got $400. Yo, in the last bear market, I remember predicting, and this is why I don't want to do this again. I was predicting, a $40 BNB because I was just looking at this freaking monthly, and I was like, yo, you lose 180, it is lights out. But guess what, guys? CZ, man, he's got so much money in this token that it would never touch any of these levels again. And even right here, I don't think this thing is going to lose $400. Absolutely not, guys. Like, I would be very, very shocked. All right, chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Look, all right, okay, I guess I can wait. We got 3 minutes. And then we get a close of this daily candle. So maybe I'll wait, and then, after that, I'm out of this. But look, we just won't do it. I don't think we get back above $65,000. I mean, look at this, guys. $64,500. I mean, the look of this thing is just, it's terrible, man. Let me go to the lower time. Are the bulls doing anything? No. Look, the 15 minutes is already giving up. We tried to go up. This is a sell-off right here, guys. So not looking good, chat. Yo, chat, listen, I'm just going to end it right. All right, we got 2 minutes. Should I wait for the next 2 minutes, or... We gotta get back above. Remember, it's not just like exactly 65,000. It's basically $65,600. Yeah, we are just not going to do it. Oh my gosh, what a market! What a market! Yeah, let's see these 2 minutes, and then we'll end the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. I guess maybe what? It's not really much to ask, I guess. Wow. Brick by brick. Oh man, I am still not. All right, we got about a minute. So look, yeah, we're just not gonna make it. We are just not going to make it. This right here, guys. This is I could be wrong, but I think this is massive right here. If you are looking for a reason to predict going below 60,000, this right here gives you every reason. I mean, look how massive this candle is, guys. Like, this is not one of these little tiny ones. Like, this one, it tells you, yeah, it's not looking good. Here we go. We just closed below 65,000. We just closed below this bearish pattern. And I believe we are going much, much lower. All right, people. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you next